Hey, hi, hello there. My name is Ciana and welcome to my channel. I have dated a nightmare worth of different kinds of dudes so that you don't have to. And today we're going to be reading a story that I found on Reddit and found very interesting that I think a lot of us can relate to. And so I just wanted this to be my first video on making advice for that sort of thing. So let's get started. This comes from r/confession. Not sure if I want to share the name of the person who posted this, but I can later if requested. But so the story is called "I sneaked into my best friend's phone, and I don't think it was a good idea." So my best friend, 27 female, let's call her D, is getting married to the love of her life, at least so she calls it. At least so she calls it. They were college sweethearts, and we all love these two. But a couple of months ago, Dee and I went on my birthday trip. And the author also says they are also a girl. So Dee met this guy, I'm assuming on the birthday trip, who is married and he has a kid. He's also very good looking, so they got to talking and met a lot of times even after we came back. I kept asking Dee if something is going on and she kept denying. So tonight she fell asleep early, so I had her phone all to myself. I didn't want to breach her privacy, but my curiosity made me look into her chats with that dude. What I saw was beyond friendship for sure. They call each other baby and send nudes to each other. Dee pretends that all of this is normal so long as she doesn't sleep with him. I have been cheated on and have cheated on someone in the past and learned my lesson big time. I don't know how to confront her about this. Should I even confront? Anyhow, she's not the same person in my eyes anymore. I still love her, but she was one person that I looked up to if someone asked who's the most loyal person you've met. Maybe I'm too old for this generation to consider this cheating, or maybe today's world is way beyond modern for me. What I have also learned is that people are not who they say they are. You better not judge yourself based on what you see on the surface. I'm so proud of myself to never have two faces in front of anyone ever. I am what I am, and it's right in the open. Never mind, let me know if you guys think I'm making a big deal out of something trivial. Alright, so I read that one earlier. It was kind of a tough one because there are a lot of weird grammar things, but anyway, I thought this one was interesting because I've been in different situations on all sides of this, right? So, I've been cheated on, I've been accused of cheating. I'm sure because, in some eyes what I've done has been considered cheating by others. In my own heart, like, I haven't cheated on anyone, so I'm not going to go there, but and I've also been friends with people who have been in a situation where I would say, they were cheating. So where I wanted to start with this for general advice is, sorry if you can hear my cat in the background, but where I wanted to start with this for general advice is I think we have to start with two sides of this. First of all, we have to look at what does everyone consider cheating. They kind of mentioned in the end that they're not sure if, this wouldn't be considered cheating by them, which I think is fair. I think we would have to look at, okay, so does this person that they're marrying consider this cheating? We don't know anything about that person and what they would consider cheating, right? And so that would be the first place to start in my eyes, is if you don't know what their relationship is like on the inside, nobody knows but them. So they have to be the ones to decide whether it's cheating or not, because there are so many options. Like, maybe they have an open relationship that you didn't know about. Maybe everything but having sex, okay. There are just so many ways you can look at that. And so, really, I would suggest that anyone in this situation think about that first before like making any steps. And especially if you're close with this person, take the opportunity to ask them, like, is this something that you would be okay with your partner doing if the, you know, situation were swapped? And, something that I noted when at the beginning of the story was that this couple has been together for a long time. It sounded like they were high school sweethearts, if I remember correctly. Which I've noticed that a lot of people who start dating in high school or even earlier, they often have this mentality of like, I haven't had very much experience. Like, I haven't gotten out there and I want to have those experiences. And a lot of the time, that ends up being a reason that they break up, right? And so, if they had had that discussion as a couple, which again, we don't know, there could be something where they said, okay, well, you know what, before we get married, like, let's each have our little experience. We won't go past this point, and we're going to tell each other about it, or we're going to never speak of it, but it's okay, right? So that's another possibility that maybe this friend doesn't know about, right? So, with that out of the way, I think we can move on to the next part, which is what to do about the situation, right? So, this friend wants to know how they should confront, or if they should confront at all, right? And first, I want to start out with this person does not have the moral high ground, right? Because they went snooping through their friend's home, or their friend's phone, without their permission, which I really don't think you can say, hey, you're a bad person, you did this bad thing, when you just violated their trust, right? So that is something to think about. And then I think the next thing to think about is, what is more important to you? Is it more important that justice is served and that the man, I'm assuming it's a man, but the partner in this relationship knows what happened? Or is it more important that you stay friends with this person that you've had in your life for a long time? And so, with those considerations in mind, I think really you have a couple of options, which are either you can leave it be, right? So you can just pretend this didn't happen, pretend you didn't snoop, and just let it play out, which is a total justifiable option because you shouldn't have been snooping in the first place, and it's not your relationship. As crappy as that is, sometimes doing nothing can be the best option, right? Especially if you want to stay friends with this person and you don't want to be responsible for ending their relationship, right? The next option would be your next option is you can confront the friend, right? And within this option, you have also two options. So you can confront the friend and say, hey, I'm sorry. I looked through your phone because I was curious about your relationship with this person and I saw, what I saw. And I think option one is you can say, I saw this and I think that you should tell your significant other what's going on. Or you should at least let me know like what your understanding is so that I can feel less guilty about this. And then you let your friend decide from there on whether they still want to be friends with you, or whether and they get to decide how they're going to proceed with that issue in their own relationship, because that's basically, I guess, let me rephrase. So I would say, yeah, you can confront them and say, yeah, please tell your significant other that you've been doing this, because I've been in that spot where I've cheated on someone. I've been cheated on, and I know what a mess it can be, and I know how hurtful it can be on both sides, and I just don't want that to happen to you, is basically how you should put it. And then from there on out, whatever happens to your relationship is what happens. The other option is to, I think you should still talk to the friend first, but you can also say, if you don't tell them, I'm going to tell them because I think they have the right to know. And that might, boost their want to tell their partner. Or at least the partner's going to know in the end. But you're probably not going to have that friend anymore, and you're most likely going to ruin that relationship as well. And so that's really what it comes down to. And I've been in this like situation before. I had a friend who like she was a mess, like really. She got all of her relationships online on Tumblr, and this was back in high school. But she met this girl online, and they started dating like through Tumblr messaging, which, all right. um, and then they finally met in person, and while she was visiting this girl in person, this girl introduced her to a bunch of her friends, and my friend ended up cheating on that girl with one of that girl's friends, this guy. And so now she's with this guy that knows that she's a cheater, cheated on that friend, and they end up having like a long distance online relationship for a while. They even end up getting engaged long distance online. And I was hanging out with this friend one time after they had gotten engaged, and when we were hanging out, she invites over this other girl, this one girl that we're friends with, and ends up hooking up with that friend. So she's engaged now to this other guy and hooks up with this other girl just like randomly, basically. And, throughout the whole thing, I was just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, this is a mess. You're making a mess for yourself. You're going to hurt these people. You already hurt that one girl and like really betrayed her trust, and her friend betrayed her trust. So like that's shitty. And yeah, like I don't know why you would ever want to put yourself in that situation. And yeah, she really didn't like hearing that. She didn't end the relationship with either of those people. I didn't tell them because I didn't feel like it was my place, and I didn't know either of them that well. I knew the girl, the third girl, a little better, but I was still just like, yeah, no, not my problem. But I kind of just, I backed out of that relationship because I was like, yeah, I don't need to be friends with someone who's doing that to people, because if she's doing that to someone that she's willing to marry, what is she going to be willing to do to me? And, she turned out to be not a great friend anyway, so people really do show their true colors over time when they do things like that. And yeah, it's definitely important to just be aware that when people are willing to act like that, it says a lot about them. So yeah, that was a good start for a story. That one was really interesting. I hope this person, gets out of the situation the best way possible. I suppose we can read like some of the comments of like what other people told her. Top comment said, "This is indeed cheating," which I mean, um, I would agree. Yeah, just based on the level of the relationship. If they're talking about getting married and they're the love of each other's lives, like, I think there should be a limit unless it's clearly an open relationship. I think there should be a strict, like, line that you don't cross. And for me personally, it would probably be, yeah, emotional cheating, texting like that would be crossing the line. Any sort of physical affection would be crossing the line unless it's, like, clearly platonic. Like, hugging your friend, there's nothing wrong with that, but, making out with someone, obviously, wouldn't work for me. Let's see, the next top comment says, "It doesn't have to be sex to be cheating. If someone has to hide it, it's cheating. If they know their partner would get upset about it, it's cheating. I went through this shit last year, and it was heart-wrenching. You were wrong to snoop, but I get it because that's how I found out." Which I think is pretty on par with how I feel about the situation. It's a good point. Hiding anything from your partner is obviously not a good sign. So if the partner doesn't know about it, then yeah, it's not good for the relationship. It's not good for anyone involved. And the best option is just to, yeah, get out of it. I personally wouldn't like meddle with it. I would suggest to the friend that they should do something about it, but I wouldn't tell the partner, the boyfriend, I'm assuming, in question. I would tell a friend, like, hey, you're like being a bad partner, and I thought better of you. I don't really want to be friends with someone who treats their partner that way. So yeah. Anyway, Come back next time for another interesting relationship story. I have plenty of stuff to talk about from my own relationships. Like I said, I have dated plenty of, I like to call them nightmare men because, my god, some of them were really awful. Yeah, so thank you for watching. If you have ever been cheated on, I suppose leave that little, like, hand raise emoji in the comments, or feel free to tell me your story if you feel open to sharing that. If not, thank you for watching. Please leave a like and a share if you feel like it. Feel free to leave a dislike and tell me why in the comments as well. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye! Hey!